This is NBC 29 HD News at 11.
It's memories that they have taken. Things can be replaced, but it's memories, and that's what meant the most to us.
Tonight, a Charlottesville family is devastated after a thief stole half of their Christmas decorations right off the front lawn. This is what the house looks like from the street tonight. One side of it still all lit up, decorated. The other side is completely dark. Tonight, the family is asking for the Grinch who stole their Christmas decorations to bring them back. NBC 29's Victoria Resolo has that story for us. New at 11. Victoria?
Hi, Matt. Well, the Haney family has decorated their home on Elizabeth Avenue for the past 30 years. They decided to keep the tradition alive even after their grandmother passed away. But now with those lights gone, they say those memories are gone.
I was excited when the Thanksgiving came. You knew the day after they were taking everything out the barn, getting everything organized, ready to put up in the yard. The 1st of December, all the lights were on, and it was just amazing.
Decorating the Haney house all started because Mabel Haney loved Christmas. After she passed away from Alzheimer's in 2014, her grandchildren wanted to keep her memory alive.
I started taking over probably about 5 years ago. And in the past year, I've spent probably about $1,500 or $2,000 and replacing old things with new things.
Early Saturday morning, Ricky Haney woke up and noticed things were missing.
There were dogs that were blow up for Christmas all along through here. Right down through here were owls and penguins, polar bears, and some little small blow up Santas.
The Haneys say someone took about 20 blow-up Christmas decorations from their front lawn.
It broke my heart for him because I know how hard he worked for it, and he spent his own money buying all the new stuff to put in the yard, and just everything's gone.
The Haneys' grandpa Herman still lives in the home.
I'd really like to try to hold it back from him noticing because I don't want to upset him. He worked really hard for, 30 years making this possible, and then now having half to a quarter of it missing would really upset him.
The family says people come every year to see their lights, but now Ricky has made a sign to let people know why the house looks so dark.
Well, I made a sign that said Merry Christmas to whoever stole the majority of my Christmas lights, and I hope they enjoy them, and they've ruined a tradition. It wasn't about the actual objects or the things, it's the memory and keeping a tradition going when loved ones are gone.
The Haneys family is asking for the community's help to try to get those decorations back before the holiday. If you have any information, go to our website, NBC29.com. In the newsroom, Victoria Resolo, NBC 29 News at 11.
NBC 29 covering Virginia tonight. Hazmat crews are monitoring the James River to make sure no fuel was spilled during a fire at a Richmond marina. A neighbor reported that fire at the Richmond Yacht Basin Friday morning and alerted people who were staying on their boats. About a dozen boats were destroyed. Investigators say it could take weeks to determine the cause of the blaze, and it's too early to speculate about whether the fire was arson. Hundreds of workers at Martin's grocery stores will lose their jobs as part of the sale of the company's Richmond area stores to Publix supermarkets. According to the layoff notices submitted to the state, 672 Martin's workers will be laid off at 4 stores in Henrico County, Colonial Heights, and Chesterfield County. Those stores will close as early as February. Publix plans to remodel the stores before reopening them. Martin's stores in Stanton and Waynesboro are not affected by this sale. Former Governor Bob McDonnell appears anxious to get back to pushing conservative values in Virginia politics. McDonnell and New Jersey Governor Chris Christie are attending this weekend's Republican Party of Virginia Advance, the premier statewide event for the GOP. Supporters lined up to congratulate the former governor now that the Supreme Court has overturned his corruption conviction.
Nice to be back. Great to be around a lot of friends and have my buddies Chris Christie and Eric Cantor here. And
that Republican values are sweeping the country. We're making some real changes in Washington, and we want to make some changes here in Richmond too.
More than 700 grassroots activists are gathered for the event, which is being held behind closed doors at a hotel in Richmond. Former Republican presidential candidate Carly Fiorina is today's featured speaker. President-elect Donald Trump has made his pick for Secretary of State. NBC News has learned Trump offered the job to ExxonMobil CEO Rex Tillerson. Tillerson is already drawing fire from Democrats and Republicans for his close ties to Russian President Vladimir Putin. NBC's Chris Pallone reports.
Donald Trump in Baltimore for the annual Army-Navy football game, sitting alongside top military brass. Next month, he'll be their commander-in-chief. Earlier, Trump met in New York with ExxonMobil CEO Rex Tillerson. NBC News has learned he is Trump's pick for Secretary of State.
To give Trump credit, he said he was going to try to surround himself with really successful people who did well. And what do we find? CEOs, people at the top of their professions.
But the Tillerson pick is drawing criticism from Democrats and Republicans. Tillerson was his company's liaison to the Kremlin and has been awarded Russia's Order of Friendship. NBC's Casey Hunt asked Republican Senator John McCain for his thoughts on the pick.
I believe that Vladimir Putin is a thug and a bully and a murderer, and I believe that the relationship between Mr. Tillerson and Vladimir Putin needs to be examined.
This comes just a few hours after the Washington Post reported the CIA believes Russia interfered in the presidential election, hacking and leaking Democratic Party documents, not just to cause chaos, but to actively help Trump win.
So you're looking ahead to an early part of the Trump presidency where Russia is very much going to dominate the conversation, and certainly you can expect to hear a lot of tough questions at this confirmation hearing.
The Trump team immediately slammed the CIA and said it's time to move on. Chris Pallone, NBC News, New York.
A new historical marker in Albemarle County recognizes an African-American schoolhouse. The state unveiled the marker at the St. John's School today. The school was built with money from the Rosenwald Fund in 1923. It closed in the 50s. More than 70 alumni from the school got together in 2009 and began working on plans on how to preserve the school and keep it an active part of the community.
This is significant because it says that something really important happened here, you know. We're just not talking about this. Don't you agree that something important happened here?
St. John Family Life and Fitness Center became a nonprofit in 2011. The group plans to turn the school into a community health center with a museum to remember that school. Middle and high school students in Charlottesville are learning from community leaders thanks to the first Greenway Symposium. Students at St. Anne's Belfield were inspired to create this event after having a club in middle school called Big Ideas. Their goal is to allow community members and students to see what resources are available.
Coming from the high school and middle school, the teachers are always showing TED Talks, and just like a sporting event, everything's better in person, so we thought it'd be cool if we could have a TED-like event here at STAB.
Speakers included the president of the Charlottesville Habitat for Humanity, former Charlottesville Police Chief Tim Longo, and a professor from the University of Virginia. Some children in Central Virginia are enjoying an early Christmas thanks to officers from Albemarle County Police Department. Toy Lift's annual Kids and Cops Holiday Shop allows children to spend one-on-one time with police officers while shopping for some Christmas presents. The organizations pay for those toys. They hope it provides a positive experience for children who may fear police officers.
It's a way for the children in the community who may not have always had a positive interaction with the police or have had fear of the police for whatever their reasons. It's a way to bring us together so that they can spend some time with us and get to know us.
The Kids and Cops Holiday Shop has been running for 15 years. Children are selected each year through their schools. New tonight, people in Augusta County are getting into the holiday spirit at the 4th Annual Stewart's Draft Christmas Parade. About 80 different groups participated in this year's parade along Draft Avenue. There was everything from monster trucks to trains and Santa himself.
I love the way it brings the community together. I'm a lifelong resident of Stewart's Draft, and I see, people, we were out 7:30, 8 o'clock this morning. There were chairs already lined up along the streets. So I just think the excitement and the spirit it brings to the holidays.
At the end of the night, judges pick the best floats in each of 10 different categories. 4 department store chains are facing lawsuits for allegedly raising prices ahead of sales. Plus, a town in northeastern Ohio, look at it there, has more snow than anywhere else in the country right now.
Wow.
More is on the way, Clayton.
Yeah, and not really any snow for us folks. In the near future, we're tracking a developing storm system out to our west tonight that brings plain old rain. But beyond this one, next weekend, things may be a little more interesting. We'll talk about it with the 7-day coming up.
And the Riverheads football team tries to win the state championship for the 4th time in program history. We will have highlights and post-game reaction a little later in sports.